Hello, YouTube viewers out there. It is Sebastian of Sebastian's Movie Game Time, and today on episode 55, I believe. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there. Um, so, today I'm gonna be reviewing movies. The movies from the '60s that I've seen. And these are the decent ones. Now, what do I mean by decent '60s movies? Well, what I mean is that even though I've seen a lot of these movies, even though I'm going to be talking about the movies that came out in the '60s and or that came out in the '60s, and I saw them on DVDs. And even though all of you may think, but these movies I'm going to mention, these are classics and treasure of box office movie history films. But I like classic movies, like the '60s movies as well. But so these are the decent movies of this. Just because I'm talking about the decent movies from the '60s, that doesn't mean I don't like any of these movies. It's just that they're good, but there's just some good things I like about these movies that I've seen. So let's get started, shall we? This is starting off 1960 and the beginning of the '60s. We have the Magnificent Seven. It's about seven gunslingers who have been hired to to save the village, to save the local villagers in their village town that's been overrun by crime bandits who want to take over. This is there's a bunch of movies before this one, the Magnificent Seven. There was one called The Seven Samurai, directed by Kuri Urasawa. And then we had this one, The Magnificent Seven, and then in the '90s we had a Bruce Willis version movie of uh, of the Magnificent Seven. It's called Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis. That came out in '96. But this is the classic. This is the what you call classic western to a lot of western fans. Called The Magnificent Seven. It stars Gerald Branner, Steve McQueen, Robert Vaughn, Eli Walkley, James Coburn, and Charles Bronson. Um, the action is great in the Magnificent Seven. I thought I give the Magnificent Seven, 19 the original, 2 out of 3 stars. Next, we had To Kill a Mockingbird. It's about an attorney, or actually, it's about a lawyer whose team is to save an African American who's being tried in court of sexual assaulting a white woman, and his daughter, at the same time his daughter feels her life may be in danger. To Kill a Mockingbird. This is a movie that won Gregory Peck, the actor, best actor for his performance in this movie. As much this is a beloved as much this is a beloved classic film. It stars Gregory Peck and the young Robert Duvall. I give To Kill a Mockingbird 2 out of 3 stars. We have The Sword and the Stone. It's about a boy named Arthur who finds a powerful. Um, it's about a young boy named Arthur who takes a sword out of a stone as he becomes like King Arthur. Soon to be, you know, King Arthur and his Round Table Knights, or The Sword and the Stone. The stars and voice talents of Carl Samerson. I give The Sword and the Stone. It's a Disney movie, The Sword and the Stone. I give it 2 out of 3 stars. We have Ocean's 11. It's about a man named Danny Ocean who gathers up his old crew to rob and pull off different Las Vegas casinos during a major blackout. Um, This is the rat. This is the Rat Pack. What you call Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, Peter Lawford. Well, this is the Ocean's 11. It stars Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford, Angie Dickinson, Richard Content, Cesar Romero, Joey Bishop, Henry Silva, and George Raft. I give the classic Ocean's 11 2 out of 3 stars. We have the Manchurian Candidate is about a group of American soldiers who get brainwashed years after a major who uncovers a conspiracy that involves a soldier whose mother who he believes and think that the mother had something to do with the soldiers having getting her brainwashed. This is what you call a paranoia conspiracy thriller, as because it is. As you see twists and turns and great performances. The Manchurian Candidate. It stars Frank Sinatra, Lawrence Harvey. Lawrence Harvey, even though he's in this movie, but later on, he had a daughter who goes by the name of Domino Harvey. Now, I'm sure you know who Domino Harvey is, because she was a bounty hunter in the early '90s or the early 2000s, I believe. Well, actually, the bounty hunter Domino Harvey, her father was an actor named Lawrence Harvey. If you didn't know that, so Lawrence Harvey's daughter was like a famous bounty hunter named Domino Harvey. If you didn't know that, but so the movie The Manchurian Candidate stars Frank Sinatra, Lawrence Harvey, Angela Lansbury, who was great and won her like a supporting actress for the movie. Janet Leigh also stars, and Henry Silva. It's directed by John Frankenheimer. The Manchurian Candidate. John Frankenheimer directed it. I give The Manchurian Candidate 2 out of 3 stars. We have 13 Frightening Girls. It's about a school that diplomats' daughters that they go to as a young girl of an ambassador who uses as he uses her for espionage. It stars Murray Hamilton. 13 Frightening Girls. It's a film you probably never heard about. It's directed by William Castle, who directed it. I give 13 Frightening Girls 2 out of 3 stars. We had The Pit and the Pendulum. It's based on the works by an author named Edgar Allan Poe about a man who who under who travels to Spain to to find out what happened to her sister's death as he encounters the pit and the pendulum. The Pit and the Pendulum. It stars Vincent Price. I get the Pit and the Pendulum 2 out of 3 stars. Whatever happened to Baby Jane? It's about a child star named Baby Jane who tortures and torments her sister who's handicapped after a car accident. Um, this is what everybody should call another classic film. Um, the great thing about there's this scene, the opening scene of this movie, What Happened to Baby Jane. It has one. I think to me it has one of the best opening scenes. I think, in my opinion, like opening musical scene. It's the scene where Baby Jane was a little child actress girl on stage, and then audience tell her on stage, and one of the audience members tells her this song, and then the Baby Jane's father, who's playing the piano on stage with her, plays that song, and the song that the Baby Jane little girl character sings to is called "I have written a letter to Daddy." And when I saw that scene, and when Baby Jane little girl character sings that song, I have written a letter to Daddy. I never saw up until I saw that scene where she sings "I written a letter to Daddy." It just made me it just made me emotional in tears a little bit because it's such an emotional song, and it's such a nice song too. I think that's probably one of my favorite scenes in that movie. It's the little girl, Baby Jane character sings "I have run a letter, Daddy," and it just makes when you see that scene, you can feel like, oh, you're about to get a little emotional, and it is. It's a very great scene, I think, in my opinion. Um, Whatever happened to Baby Jane? It stars Joan Crawford, Bay Davis, and Victor Bruno. I give Whatever Happened to Baby Jane 2 out of 3 stars. We have The Gray Escape. It's about a small band of POW soldiers who dig underground tunnels to escape from from a POW prison camp that's run by the Nazi Germans. It stars Steve McQueen, James Gardner, Richard Attenborough, Charles Bronson, Donald Pleasant, and James Coburn. It's a good cast star film, The Gray Escape. It has one of the best motorcycle stunts that's Steve McQueen, the actor, um, does. So it's thrilling excitement of a movie, The Gray Escape. I give it 2 out of 3 stars. And also too, There's a video game of the same title called The Great Escape, and it was for a PlayStation 2. I played it, and I never got through the entire game of The Great Escape because it was so hard. But yeah, so apparently there's a video game for PlayStation 2 came out called The Great Escape that was taken from this classic movie. If you didn't know that. So I give the Great Escape movie 2 out of 3 stars. We have the Alamo. It's about a small team of soldiers who sacrifice their own lives at the most during a battle at the Alamo. It stars John Wayne and Richard Widmark. I give the Alamo 1 out of 3 stars. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is about a senator man who returns to a small western town as he attends at a funeral for an old friend of his years earlier, as the film's told flashbacks of how he shot a criminal man named Liberty Valance who shot him dead. It stars John Wayne, James Stewart, Vera Miles, Lee Marvin, Edmund O'Brien, and Annie Devine. I give The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance 2 out of 3 stars. We have Blood on the Arrow. It's about an outlaw who survives an attack as he helps a tribal family to save to help them to fight against the Indians, savages, or attackers. It stars Dave Robertson. I get Blonde on the Arrow 1 out of 3 stars. We have Mr. Sidonigus. It's about a cruel barren man whose face has been frozen as he has a horrible disfigured grin. It stars Oscar Homaka, Ronald Lewis. I give it's a William Castle movie, Mr. Sardonagus. Give it 1 out of 3 stars. We have Cleopatra. It's about a woman queen named Cleopatra who of how she tramped over to restore Rome that will lead her to her downfall. Cleopatra. This was Hollywood's expensive movie to make when it first came out. And the set designs, it's just so beautiful. It's so well, and even the costume design outfits that the characters wear, they're very glamorous and beautiful to watch and look at. And Cleopatra stars Elizabeth Taylor, Richard Burton, and Roddy McDowell, and Rex Harrison. And like I said, I thought the Cleopatra movie, I like the set designs and the costume design outfits. It's just so wonderful, great. I give Cleopatra 2 out of 3 stars. We had The Longest Day. It's about the events that led up to D-Day World War II as uh, Allied soldiers who face off against the German army. It stars John Wayne, Robert Ryan, Richard Burton, Henry Fonda, Red Buttons, and Sean Connery. Sean Connery is very young in the film The Longest Day. Um, the war action, the war action scenes by itself, it's great and all. I give it 2 out of 3 stars. We have Once Upon a Time in the West. It's about a mysterious stranger man who has a harmonica and he plays it as he goes up against a ruthless bandit who who killed who killed his friend from the past. Once Upon a Time in the West it's the Western spaghetti film directed by Sergio Leone. It stars Charles Bronson, Henry Fonda as the villain, um, James Roberts. I give Once Upon a Time in the West 1 out of 3 stars. We have Peter Pan. It's about a young girl named Wendy and 3 kids who go on an adventure with Peter Pan as they must fight Captain Hook, along with help from Tinker Bell and the Lost Boys. It stars the voice talents of Bobby uh, Gaskell. I give Peter Pan 2 out of 3 stars. We have A Fistful of Dollars. It's about a lone gunfighter who played both sides of two rival families in a small town. It's a Sergio Leone film. Again, it stars Clint Eastwood. This was Clint Eastwood's first film debut as a Western gunslinger anti-hero. I give Fistful of Dollars 2 out of 3 stars. We have Mary Poppins. It's about a magical nanny who comes to a home where a father and his kids are struggling during the and having financial problems as she helps out the kids to face the reality of life. This is another musical classic film. I'm sure all of you know Mary Poppins. You know, it stars Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke. Um, the musical and the costume outfits and the musical songs were great. I give Mary Poppins 2 out of 3 stars. We have The Night Walker. It's about a lawyer man who abuses a blind man's widow who's having nightmare. It's starring Robert Taylor, Robert Stamrick. It's a William Castle film, the Night Walker. I give it 2 out of 3 stars. We have Dr. Zhivago. It tells a story about a Russian man who whose name is Dr. Zhivago. As a woman tells like a general soldier about his backstory and the life. Dr. Zhivago is another. I thought the set designs and the costume outfits were so beautiful too. Dr. Zhivago. It stars Omar Sharif, Julie Christie, Rod Steiger, and Sir Alec Guinness, who played Obi-Wan in the Star Wars movies. I gave Dr. Zhivago 2 out of 3 stars. We have Von Ryan Express. It's about it's a POW soldiers who is about POW man who leads It's about a POW man who leads other prisoners of war to to escape to escape Germany and win their freedom. It stars Frank Sinatra. I give Von Ryan Express 1 out of 3 stars. We we have Battle of the Bulge as about U.S. soldiers who faces off against Nazi German soldiers during the Western Front of World War II. It stars Henry Fonda, Robert Ryan, Robert Shaw, Dana Andrews, Taylor Savalas, and Charles Bronson. I give Battle of the Bulge. Oh, the tank arsenal fight scenes with the army tanks was a great action scenes as well moments. Robert Shaw was good as the Nazi German villain. Robert Shaw, who was in the Jaws movie as the shark hunter. He was great in Battle of the Bulge. I give it 2 out of 3 stars for Battle of the Bulge. We had the professionals. It's about it's but a guy who hires 4 men to go on a mission to save his wife. It stars Burt Lancaster, Lee Marvin, Robert Ryan, Jack Palance. I get the professionals 2 out of 3 stars. We have Bonnie and Clyde. It's a biographical movie that tells a true story about two bank robbers and lovers named Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrel. It's another good classic gangster film, Bonnie and Clyde. It stars Warren Beatty, Faye Dunaway, and of course, the late passing of Gene Hackman, who plays the brother of Clyde Barrow. Gene Hackman, one supporting actor who for the Bonnie and Clyde movie, and Gene Hackman died not too long ago, or passed away. So it's kind of sad if you look at the Bonnie and Clyde movie, Gene Hackman is in there. So I get a Bonnie and Clyde movie 2 out of 3 stars. We had the Jungle Book. It's about a boy named Mowgli who's a man cub who befriended Bagheera, the panther, and a bear named Baloo the bear. Where at the same time, there's there's like a tiger called Shere Khan, the tiger who wants to eat the man cub. It stars the voice talents of Phil Harris. I get the Jungle Book. It's there are some good songs in the Disney's Jungle Book movie, like I wanna be like you, or oh, I don't know what the song's called. I wanna be like you, or I wanna be a man cub, something like that. I don't know what the song's called, but yeah, it's a fun film, The Jungle Book. I give it 2 out of 3 stars. We have the Wild Angels. It's about a motorcycle gang who call themselves the Wild Angels as they must search for a bike that belonged to one of their own that got stolen. It's the Roger Corman movie. It stars Peter Fonda, Nancy Sinatra, Bruce Stern, Diane Ladd. I get the Wild Angels 1 out of 3 stars. We have The Sound of Music. It's about a young woman in the what was it? The 1930s, like in Austria, where she becomes where she where she where she befriended and falls for a widower man and his kids. There's a it's a great there's some good musical number songs in The Sound of Music that is really beautiful and is a very beloved film. The Sound of Music stars Julie Andrews and the late Christopher Plummer, who was great in the film as well, along with Julie Andrews as well. I get The Sound of Music 2 out of 3 stars. We have Operation Crossbow. It's about a secret agents who infiltrate the Germans, Nazis, uh, as they must stop, as they must stop a rocket missile that the Nazis are planning. As the Allied soldiers must stop them. It stars Sophia Loren and George Peppard or George Peppard. He went on to play the Hannibal A Team main character on the A Team TV show, George Peppard, and he will later do Breakfast at Tiffany's. But you know, he has George Peppard has like an action scene towards the end, at the very end of the movie. So Sophia Loren is in it too. I give Operation Crossbow 2 out of 3 stars. We have The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. It's about a man who joins 2 other men as to most find a fortune in gold. It stars Clint Eastwood, Eli Walkley, Lee Van Cleef. The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Well, you're going to say this is one of the all-time classic Western films. Better, some of you may say, than A Fistful of Dollars or the second one. But so The Good, Bad, and Ugly. It stars Clint Eastwood, Eli Walkley, Lee Van Cleef. I give it 2 out of 3 stars. We have Ambush Bay. It's about a group of Marine soldiers who held up at a Japanese island as they must team up with the local woman. It stars Hugh O'Brien, Mickey Rooney, James Mitchum, who is the son of Robert Mitchum. If you didn't know that, Ambush Bay. There are some great action moment scenes in it. Ambush Bay. Give it 2 out of 3 stars. We have Cool Hand Luke. It's about a salesman who's been sent to a prison that's being run by a brutal guard as he must survive. It stars Paul Newman, George Kennedy, and Strother Martin. Cool Hand Luke. Even though I don't like, even though it's a classic movie, but I don't like the ending of the movie. To be honest, uh, I give a Cool Hand Luke 1 out of 3 stars. We have Casino Royale. It's a super spoof. It's a super spy spoof film that's paying homage in James Bond films as the James Bond character comes out of retirement to to stop to stop an organization called SMARSH. It stars Peter Sellers, David Niven, Ursula Andress, Orson Welles, Joanna Petty, Diala Diala Lavallee, Woody Allen, Douglas Carr, William Holden, John Huston, George Raft, and Jean Paul Belmondo. Um, there were some funny scenes in the Casino Royale, and some great funny moment scenes, especially the climax ending. That there's like a comedy battle. There's a comedy fight battle that happens at the end. That's kind of funny, and all the cameo stars, come in like William Holden. Their William Holden character comes in to help out. You got Jean Paul Belmondo, who plays like an unknown soldier coming in to help. You got George Rat, who's known for flipping or tossing the coin. He's in it as well. Um, there are some funny moments, scenes in the Casino Royale. Like I said, it's a spy spoof film. I give Casino Royale 2 out of 3 stars. We have Point Blank. It's about a man who gets revenge on his friend and his wife who double crossed him, took off with his cut of the money and shot him and left him for dead. Um, Point Blank. This is Lee Marvin, Angie Dickinson, and John Vernon. Um, there's a movie that they remade this movie, Point Blank, in the late '90s called Payback with Mel Gibson. Um, I get point blank. I like the locations. Like there's a scene where Lee Marvin's character is at a house somewhere, and you see the background. The L.A. buildings. Like in the background behind his character, and yeah, I'll get point blank. Point blank. 2 out of 3 stars. And and let me just say something. It has an ending that I don't think all of you would agree of how the movie ends, because it's one of those endings I don't want to say, but it's one of those endings that you see the movie for the first time and you're like, it can't end like that. Or was it the entire time was just imagination, the Lee Marvin's his character's head, or like a spirit or something? It leaves you so many questions of wondering what really happened to the Lee Marvin character. Like, was he this the entire time? Or was his character was foreshadowing on what's going to come of him later on of the rest of the movie? So I will leave you questions and you'll be asking yourselves. So it's that type of ending, if you know what I talk about. But I get point blank. There were some good scenes in it, like I said. I get point blank 1 out of 3 stars. We have Reflections in a Golden Eye. It's about a military post where a colonel who's suffering from personal demons of his own, who finds out his wife is having an affair with a younger sailor man. It stars Marlon Brando, Elizabeth Taylor, Robert Forster. Robert First Robert Forster was like a young guy in this movie before he appeared in Jackie Brown, the Quentin Tarantino movie. So he was quite young in this film. And there's a great powerful moment scene where the Elizabeth Taylor character approaches Marlon Brando's character, and she's smacking him in the face with the whipstick that Marlon Brando carries, and she's smacking him in the face with it. I think it's a great powerful moment scene. That the acting, just that scene where she's smacking Marlon Brando's character on the side of his face. It's a great moment shot scene. Um, I give Reflections in the Golden Eye 1 out of 3 stars. We have the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. It's about Al Capone's henchman who gathers up the other gangsters as Capone's man tells the other gangsters to stand in front of a brick wall, which later will become the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. If you know what that is. Just look up the name. Just look up if you don't know what this Saint Valentine's Day Massacre. Just look up in history books. It would tell you what the Saint Valentine's Day Massacre is about, and you know what that means. It stars Jason Robards, Ralph Meeker, Joe Tucker, Bruce Stern. I get the Saint Valentine's Day Massacre 1 out of 3 stars. We have Night of the Living Dead. It's about a local group of people in Pennsylvania, and as they take shelter in this small house as they must battle hordes of zombies. It stars Dwayne Jones. Um, Look, I understand everybody, all of you zombie fans out there like the Night of the Living Dead black and white movie that George A. Romero directed. And I'm not trashing it. I'm I'm not talking bad about it, or I'm not saying all stuff about it, but if you want my honest opinion, if I want to be honest, you want my honest opinion, I don't I'm not too fan of the original Night of the Living Dead. I saw like one time, and it's a zombie film I probably will not see again. I saw the first time. I was like, okay, I don't need to see it again. Like I know all of you out there love love this movie. You guys watch it every Halloween or zombie marathon, however, but I've seen it one time, Night of the Living Dead, and it's just not my type of film that I want to see again or over again. Well, let me just and why? Well, let me just say I don't like the movie how the movie ended. I'll just leave it there. I'll just say I don't like how the movie ended. I'll just leave it at that. So, and you'll probably know what I mean about the ending of the film. If you've seen it a bunch of times, you know what I mean by that. Um, but I get Night of the Living Dead 1 out of 3 stars. We have Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is about an inventor in a Grand Prix car as he takes his kids as they go on a venture of a lifetime. It stars Dick Van Dyke. Um, Chitty 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 Bang Bang. Let me just say, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is not a movie that's my cup of classic movie. But I know some of you out there love Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and I'm happy for you. But it's just not meant for me. I'm sorry, but that's just me and who I am. So I give Chitty Chitty Bang Bang 1 out of 3 stars. Um, we have The Last Man on Earth. It's about a man. It's about a man person who meets a woman who that she thinks that it's about a man who's the last man person standing befriended a woman who doesn't know that the woman and has friends who wants to try to take out the last person on earth. It stars Vincent Price. I get The Last Man on Earth 1 out of 3 stars. We have Blood and Black Lace. It's about a serial killer who's brutally kills supermodel woman. It's an Italian. It's Italian. Blood and Black Lace is an Italian slasher movie directed by Mario Bava. Or and it stars Cameron Mitchell. Um, I give Blood and Black Lace 1 out of 3 stars. We have Lady in the Cage. It's about a woman who's home alone, gets trapped in an elevator as a group of thieves are breaking into her house. It's a very intense movie, Lady in the Cage. It stars Olivia de Havilland, James Caan. I get Lady in the Cage 2 out of 3 stars. We have The Mercenary. It's about a mercenary who's greedy as he helps out a worker and a young girl to lead a war of revolution again against a ruthless gunslinger. It stars Franco Nero, Jack Palance. I get The Mercenary. I like the ending of The Mercenary because the ending of The Mercenary, Franco Nero's character, gives puts 2 bullets on the ground floor in front of the two guys who are facing each other, and as they start having like a showdown duel, um, that's actually a cool moment scene. Is that I get The Mercenary 1 out of 3 stars. We have Oliver. It's about a young boy orphan named Oliver who runs away as he befriended a group of streetwise kids, starring Mark Lester and Oliver Reed. I give Oliver now. I seen the Broadway show Oliver, and it's a great Broadway show hit Oliver. I give Oliver movie 1 out of 3 stars. We have Battle Britain. It's about the Royal Air Force um fight fight, the German planes during the invasion of Britain. It stars Michael Caine, Trevor Howard, Ian McShane, Robert Shaw, and Christopher Plummer. I get Battle Britain. I like the Arsenal photography war scenes that just shot so well done. I give Battle Britain 2 out of 3 stars. We have the Stalking Moon. It's about an army soldier who rounders up an Apache who rounded up the Apache as he finds out that there's an Apache warrior who escapes and is hunting the army soldier. It stars Gregory Peck, Eva Marie Saint, Robert Forster. Again, Robert Forster was young, back in his time in the 60s. I get the Stalking Moon, 1 out of 3 stars. We have Midnight Cowboy. It's about, it's about a Texas cowboy who comes to New York where he befriended a small time crook. It stars John Voight, Dustin Hoffman, and Sylvia Mills. Um, it has that famous song in Midnight Cowboy, Everybody's Talking by Harry Nelson. It's a great song. Um, I give Midnight Cowboy 2 out of 3 stars. We have um we have Straight Jacket. It's about a woman who spent a 20-year stay at asylum for a double action murders. Who's a It stars John Crawford. Straight Jacket is directed by William Castle. I give Stray Jacket 2 out of 3 stars. We have Rosemary's Baby, about a young couple who's trying to have a baby until the husband, after moving to an apartment building, and as they meet the new neighbors, the young wife realizes that her new neighbors are acting strangely weird and and then turns out that her husband had made a deal with the devil. Um, like I said, I didn't care too much about the Night of the Living Dead. Well, Rosemary's Baby. It's another film like that, but different. Um, Even though Rosemary's Baby is produced by William Castle, but yeah, well, like I said, I don't like the ending of Rosemary's Baby, to be honest. I really don't. I know all of you like Rosemary's Baby, and that's good, but it's just not. I seen it once, and I made myself. I will never see it again. I saw it once, and that's good enough for me. So, Rosemary's Baby stars Mia Farrow, John Cassavetes, Ruth Gordon, who won an Academy Award supporting actress. And it's a Roman Polanski movie, Rosemary's Baby. I give it 1 out of 3 stars. We have True Grit. It's about a young girl who hires a drunk U.S. Marshal to help her find the killer who killed her father. At the same time, they both join a Texas Ranger on the hunt. It stars John Wayne, Glenn Campbell, Robert Duvall, Dennis Hopper. True Grit. Um, I give it 1 out of 3 stars. We have Play Dirty. It's about a group of British Army soldiers during World War II who are in North Africa to destroy an oil depot that's that's being run by the Germans. It stars Michael Caine. Michael Caine, I thought he gave the great performance. I give Play Dirty 2 out of 3 stars. We have Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It's about two outlaws after a train robbery gone wrong, terrible wrong. They The two outlaw friends they go on the run from a group of posse who are after the two outlaws. It stars Robert Redford, Paul Newman, Catherine Ross, and Schroeder Martin. I thought the chemistry between Robert Redford and Paul Newman were great. I get Cassidy and the Sundance Kid 1 out of 3 stars. We we have The Graduate. It's about a younger college man, who is about a young man who's in college who has love and affair with an elderly woman who turns out is his girlfriend's own mother. Now, now, for some reason, I don't know why the movie the grad the graduate movie, it's rated PG, and I don't know why the graduate movie with Dustin Hoffman and Anne Bancroft movie and Catherine Ross. Those three stars, like starring Dustin Hoffman, Anne Bancroft, and Catherine Ross. I don't know why the graduate is rated PG. It shouldn't get like an R rating. So I don't know why, but it is what it is. So it's kind of a highly controversial movie, the graduate. So if you younger teenagers never seen the graduate, my advice is to you younger teenagers out there, wait till you're old enough to see the movie. Even though the movie The Graduate, it says rated PG, but it's not a PG movie or PG-13. It's a very extremely R-rated movie because of what the plot and the theme element is about that film. So just wait till you're old enough to see the movie, even though you think, but the movie's rated PG. But it's not. But I hate to tell you the truth, the Graduate movie, it's not a PG movie. It's an R-rated movie. So my advice, just wait till you're old enough to watch it because, well, it's kind of crazy how I got a PG rating. I shouldn't have got R-rated, but it is an R-rated movie, the Graduate. It really is. So I'm just letting you know in advance. I get The Graduate. So The Graduate stars Dustin Hoffman, Anne Bancroft, Catherine Ross. I give it 1 out of 3 stars. We have Easy Rider. It's about two biker guys who go on a who who go on a road trip on their bikes, looking for somewhere to go, but at the same time they couldn't look for anywhere to go or anywhere where they belong. It stars Peter Fonda, Dennis Hopper, Jack Nicholson, Tony Basil, who sings that song "Hey Mickey," and Karen Black also. Um, there are some great, there are some great, there are some great moment scenes. There were some scene moments in Easy Rider. For example, there's a scene where Peter Fonda has like a passenger riding behind him, and Dennis Hopper has all 3 guys on the 2 bikes. They are driving on the road, and then you hear that song playing as they're driving on that road. The song is called "The Wait" by a band called the by a band group called The Band, and their song's called "The Wait." And you hear that Wait song playing, and then as they're driving, as Peter Fonda has the passenger riding behind him, and Dennis Hopper is riding beside him on his own bike as well. And there's a scene where the passenger behind Peter Fonda's character does this with his arms as they both turn their heads and looking at the sun, at the sunset. And then the Dennis Hopper's character on his bike, goes over on their side at the same time as they're looking at as Peter Fonda and the man behind him. They're both looking at the sun and doing thing with the arm. And Dennis Hopper's character on his bike, just goes onto the side, and then it gets back on the same lane as Peter Fonda's character's bike that he's riding on. And then and then and then like 5 or 10 minutes after that moment scene, there's another shot at the camera. There's another camera shot scene, and you see like the beautiful sky colors. That's like, I don't know, like blue and blue gray, and you see the camera, panning to the side, and you look at all the colorful, skies as it becomes dark. It's a really, really beautiful moment shot scene. And there's another scene in Easy Rider 2 that I think it really speaks well is that Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper's two bike characters. They pick up Jack Nicholson along the way, and they stop at this local cafe diner, whatever you want to call it. And as as all the free characters are sitting at this table, and all the customers who are eating their food at this diner, they are looking at this free guys sitting at this table in chairs, and they stop eating, and they're just staring at them. And Jack Nicholson's character is telling the two main characters, played by Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper, that why, because they're like, why does customer people eating looking at us? And Jack Nicholson kind of explains about, oh, they're everybody eating, all the customer people eating their food in this at this cafe. They're looking at us because they never seen two hippie guys and some other guy that might be that it's part with them. And Jack Nicholson kind of the Jack Nicholson character explains to Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper's two characters that are they're looking at us this way because they don't like us, they don't like us. These type of people don't like us coming to this sort of place, and they see us as a threat to them because in the 60s, it was hard for biker guys to get into to cafe restaurants because the customer people don't want to deal with these bike gangs, or it was a time in the 60s and how different it was back then, all that culturally time period. So it's really so but like I said, Easy Rider stars Peter Fonda, Dennis Hopper, Jack Nicholson, Tony Basil, and Karen Black. I give Easy Rider 2 out of 3 stars. That would do it for all the 60s movies that I've saw. So, and now I have about 2 movies from 2024 and 1 movie from 2023. So, I'm going to be reviewing. So, we have Challengers. It's about two tennis players who are in love with the same woman who was a former tennis player. To all three decide to, break up with each other and went their different lives. That years later, the two guys battled to win a tennis champion. Um, this is what can I say about the Challengers movie? The Challengers movie, it stars Zendaya, Joshua Connell. Um, I thought the Challengers movie was a whole different. I thought it was a different role for Zendaya, because Zendaya is known for known for playing action, heroine, like the Dude movies, and or but this is a different role for her, like that HBO series that Zendaya did, Euphoria or Euphoria. Well, Challenger's movie, it shows a whole acting different side of Zendaya. Like, she's never acted. I mean, her character in Challenger's movie, her character smokes and say some profanity, cussing words. I was like, when I saw some theater, the Challengers, I was like, oh, the Zendaya's character, it's a completely different role for Zendaya because her character smokes and her character cusses a lot. I was like, "Ooh, this is a different role." You know what? You know what the Zendaya's character kind of remind me of? Uh, and the way she played this character in this Challengers movie. It kind of this the Zendaya character in this Challengers movie kind of reminded me that there was another great, actress named Vanessa Hudgens, and she did this movie back in 2012 called Spring Breakers, and Spring Breakers, Vanessa Hudgens the Vanessa Hudgens character plays a whole different role. She's not the goody two shoes like she was in High School Musical. But Vanessa Hudgens played a different role in Spring Breakers as her character smokes as well, and do rebel bad things. Her character does. So when I was watching this Challengers movie, I was watching Zedeha's character, and her character kind of reminded me of Vanessa Hudgens' character, played almost exactly same in that Spring Breakers movie. So Challengers stars Zendaya and Joshua Cornell, like I said. I give the Challengers movie 2 out of 3 stars. We have Long Legs. It's about an FBI agent woman who must track down a serial killer named Long Legs that that she may have a connection with. It stars Micah Monroe, Nicolas Cage, Blair Underwood, Alicia Witt. Long Legs. I had no idea what kind of movie I was watching. Long Legs, but I gotta say, one thing about this movie, I really gotta give credit. One thing about this movie, I gotta give credit for this Long Legs movie. It's the transformation, totally different transformation role by Nicolas Cage. And Nicolas Cage, I thought Nicolas Cage's performance was so great and totally different role character for him to play in the Nicolas Cage. His character in this movie was just so bizarre and scary, and it's like unrecognizable of him. The character he plays in this film, it's a different role for him, and I just thought he was great. Um, I give the Long Legs movie 2 out of 3 stars. And we have Elemental. It's about water. Who is a fire? It's about a water and a fire as they both meet, as they must both find a way to because fire lives in a fire city and water lives in a water city, as they must find a way to all live together. Elemental, it's a Disney movie. It stars the voice talents of Leah Lewis, Wendy McLendon Covey, and Captain O'Hara. I give Elemental 2 out of 3 stars. Okay, everybody, that would do it. Mr. That's it on episode 55 on Sebastian's Movie Game Time. Thank you for watching. Make sure hit the like button and subscribe. And you get new contents on Mondays. Thank you again. And I'll see all of you at the movies. Oh, sorry. I'll see you at the movies.